Are you on?
Hi guys, it's Lisa. Welcome to Prompted Memories. I'm so excited. I don't know about you, but I've been waiting for this all week. And for those of you who've been in some of my other classes, you're going to notice something different. Hair is up today. We have got a lot to do. I am so excited. So, as you're coming on, please say good morning. Let us know that you're here. I already see somebody. Hey, Miss Nelson, glad to see you here. We're going to try to be taking an informal role. So let us know you're here if you can. If you've got a different name than your Facebook name, please let us know what that is. Hey, Donna, good to see you here. And I'm just going to do a couple of introductions, and I'm going to go right into opening my pack and kind of getting organized. And right at 9 o'clock, we will try to get started because there is a lot to do. Before I forget, this video in its entirety, or this project, sorry, in its entirety, has been recorded, and it took me 4 hours nonstop talking as hard as I could and working as hard as I could, but I got everything done. So that's going to be available to you next week. So don't worry if we don't complete every single thing. There's another set of videos already completed. May already has the link, so she'll send those out next week to you, so you can do it start to finish if you miss some certain parts or if I don't get to everything. So, hi Mary. My mom is here. Her name is Avery, so you'll see her coming in. She's already said good morning. Kathy will be with us shortly. She's also going to be moderating the class. Let's see, what else? Turn your sound up if you can. I'm not a loud talker. I'm going to try my best, but sometimes people have a hard time hearing me, so try and do that. Hey, Miss Beverly. Hey, Terrence, good morning. So I hope you got John set up, Terrence. I saw that comment so that he can watch his video so that you can be here with me this whole time. Is Rhonda in here yet? Don't see Rhonda. Nancy. And be sure to ask questions as we go along. Good, Mary. She's got her sound all the way up. Let's see. I told you about the class is going to be recorded. We'll do prizes throughout. After about an hour in the class, we're going to give away our first prizes. If anyone has not taken a class with me before, I'll give you my little spiel about how I met May. We go back a really long time, longer than probably we want to know. I'm from South Alabama and now live in mid-Alabama, which I guess that's not a big difference if you're not from here. But if you've ever driven down 65 and gone to the beach around here, to Panama City Beach, you've probably passed Clanton. It's the big water tower. It looks like a peach in the sky, and May and I live about maybe 2 or 3 minutes from that peach water tower, and we met in middle school when I moved here. She was my very first friend that I made. It's so funny. We met and we took square dancing class together. Can you believe that they used to teach that in public school? Hilarious. Hi, Kathy. Oh, let's see. Crystal's here. Okay.
Cindy.
Oh, Sandy, you made Prompted Memories Christmas. I loved that one. This one is not going to be that complicated. We're going to do small. We're going to take it in smaller bites and smaller sections, but it's just going to be just as fabulous. I think you're really going to like this one. I think I stressed people out in that class, but it's okay. Let's see what else. I'm going to start opening everything that came in my pack and get organized so that I have that out of the way so that I can start teaching right at 9, because I think a lot of you probably already have that done. You probably already have it on your desk. Hey, Deidre. Let me change the camera view. You're coming, I haven't said this before, you're coming live in my craft room. This is where I craft just about daily. And it's a mess behind me, but I enjoy it. It's a blessing to have my own spot in the house.
No, it's not as hard as it looks.
Oh, it's not as hard. Okay.
Somebody said it looks hard.
So I'm going to put my mouse out of the way. This was the biggest kit I have ever put together, especially for Matacon, but I think ever. It took us a while to procure all of this, to put it all together, to do it. I hope you're going to enjoy. It's a lot of stuff. So I'm going to kind of move my notes out of the way. Move this here. These are the trusty things I always use. This I got from probably Target, TJ Maxx, one of those places. Oh, I think it says TJ Maxx on it. In the kitchen section, where if you need to organize your pantry, and you know the packets of Kraft dressing that you can make, you know, from the powders and taco seasoning. That's what it's made to do, to put them in here in your pantry to keep them organized. But who knew they even had that? But I found this and it's perfect for tags and 4x6s and things like that. I always use this in my crafting. It costs me about $6. And then this I always use is 8x9. It's just a cheap plastic drawer insert from Office Depot. So I wish they were the same color. I need to do that one day. Find me some. Hi, Sheila. Sentiments by Sue. I'm just going to try to get a little bit organized. So these are our hole reinforcements. So they're already done for you in Vintage Photo. I need to get my Vintage Photo out. Everybody's got some different tickets. So you might have a strip that's a little bit different than mine. And I'm going to put my tags over here. And then you've got this little piece of Velcro that's clear. I'm going to put this in here. And we've got, I wonder why I only have that little bit, but I've got a little bit of foam left. More tags. That's called a jewelry tag. And everybody's got a set of the 4x6 cards. So my mama did this. Is this not ingenious? Instead of everybody getting a ton of washi tape, we're just going to give you basically what you're going to need. And then she put them on these cards so everybody could have a sample of all of them. What's Terrence saying? Oh, you haven't opened yours yet. Okay, well, good. We're going to get organized together. And then you've got some white 4x6 cards. This is in case you're giving this as a gift and you want to mark the places where you put photos. So we'll use some of those as we go along. You got a couple library cards. You got like a library card clear pocket. And you've got a bigger tag. I'll put these here. You've got a baggie. They might be floating free in your kit here, but it should have 4 magnets and 1 gold paper clip. So I'm going to put this here, make sure I don't lose it. And then this is what I have. You probably have 6 to 9 flowers. This is what I have left, and that's sad. So I'll show you the samples of where I put it, but I have 1. So we made good use of what we purchased. Everybody got, we're going to use every single one of those. All right, I'll leave this to the side. The ephemera packs. I'm going to open those.
I don't have any flowers, Mary said.
No, I was wondering about that because someone had mentioned that, but any flowers will do, and I will show you where I'm going to use them. And if you don't find them in your kit, you can send me an email, and it's linked down below. We'll see what we can do for you. But they're these little tiny ones.
It's okay, she said.
Oh, like this. That's here. And they're probably in a little package by themselves. So I'm just going to go ahead and open all my ephemera. Just pull this one off. And when I am designing or crafting, I always go ahead and try to open everything I know that I'm going to use or think I'm going to use and have it at the ready, because that way...
Found them.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. That way I'm more apt to use them if I can just dig through and find my ephemera or just pull it out and go with it instead of having to open things. I'm not sure why that is, but if everything is open and accessible, I'm more apt to use it. So now I've got... Look at all this ribbon. Isn't this pretty? You got a very nice assortment of different ribbons. We've got like this peachish pink, gray, green, and black. And I'm going to run out of space. Put that here. Right here. And I'm going to put my string. I don't want this to get all matted. There we go. And then you have an exclusive stamp set. When I say exclusive, they did give away some last night. That was so much fun, wasn't it? They were so silly and so funny last night at the Make It Escape It. So they did give away some of these. And I think there's a couple of these going to be left in the shop. If they're not online, you can always email info@maymay-made-it. But I do know they ordered some extras.
Sue said, would you please show the paperclip magnets again? We don't seem to have those.
They would be in a very tiny package, and they're thrown into that big big package by themselves because I did them at the last second, so they're not in anything else. More than likely, it is in. They're in these teeny tiny bags, and they're in your big kit, like this. So yeah, just look really well because I made sure I tried to put one in everything at the last minute to go in there. But if you don't find it, let me know. And then I'm just going to get my stamp set out and get it ready to go. So along with that, I've got my VersaFine Black Onyx. Found it great. VersaFine Black Onyx. I've got some different sizes, just acrylic blocks, and the way to clean my stamps. So we'll do a few stamps as we go along. I'll put that out of the way here. And then now what's left really is my paper. Oh, I have my tags and stuff underneath here. Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and get my tags and then this tabbed piece and my glassine bag. Put it over here. All right, so all of this that's in the plastic bag, just keep it all together. All this is going to be your shaker. And it was really important to have all the pieces of this one together. So I'm just going to keep that in the bag for now. I'm going to get, there should be 4 pieces of paper. That's this craft color, A, B, C, and D. And one of them's real tiny, like this. Mine didn't even have a letter on it. A, B, C, and this is the little D piece. So this is what we're going to work on first. So I'm just going to put it over to the side for a second, and I'm going to grab that one when we get started. The rest of this is in this parchment paper, so you're going to need all of those, but not for a little while. Then, along with the one that looks like an envelope, this one, that's shaped like an envelope that we're going to put together. You can see these little black pieces in there. This is going to be your template for your matting. So once I put it here, that'll make sense. So that's going to be your matting templates. Okay. Keep all this together. I'm going to put this in my little cubby holes by my desk. Then, of course, you have a cutting guide, and you have your Prima paper. So let me move this kind of out of the way. Put that one here. Cutting guide. Of course, everything's already been done for you on your cutting.
I don't have magnets, but I found Velcro. Is it a substitute?
No, we're going to use the Velcro on the envelope. But if you'll send me an email, I'll be glad to send you some magnets. You just won't finish the matting part of this as we're going along. But I'll be glad to do that. I'm sorry about that if you did not find them. This is the only bad thing about not doing it in person because we don't have all the extras right there where we can hand it to you like we normally would. Hey, Rhonda, I'm glad that you made it. I heard it was your birthday. Happy birthday. I'm glad that you're here. So this front part, if you wanted to remake the box is what we're going to do first. And so here's my sample before it's decorated. If you want to make the box again, this is what this cutting guide is for. So, and this is where I'll show you where those magnets are going to go. So I just would not glue down your mats here until you get some magnets there. So that'd be the only thing that you would want to skip if you don't find your magnets. Okay, so we're going to flip on over to page 2, and this is where we will get started putting together the craft. So it's right at 9 o'clock. So the only other tools I think we're going to need, of course, you're going to need your trimmer, a pair of scissors, pencil, those type things. I've got a regulation size punch that you would use in an office. So it's 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to use that in a couple places, and I'm going to use a corner rounder in a couple of places. Of course, our glitter glue, and to get started on our construction, I'm going to be using tape, and I'm using 3/8 of an inch tape and some way to cut it. I use a block. Any tape less than 1/2 of an inch will work. If you're using millimeters, that would be 6, 8, or 10 millimeter, or 3/8 or 1/4 of an inch. Anything less than 1/2 of an inch will work great. That works great in construction. So I'm going to put my cutting guide over here out of my way. One last thing I'm going to do to get started here, when I open up, you can see I've been playing in my pattern paper. As I open up my papers, I like to go ahead and take out a sheet of everything. Now, if it's double-sided, which most things are, you would take out 2 and flip it over so that you kind of know what you've got to work with. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to get a couple of books out of this, is why mine has already been used. And your paper more than likely will have already been opened because we cut one piece for you that needed to be cut for the shaker card. You needed a frame, and I didn't want you to have to cut that. So we took that piece of paper out of your pack. If your pack is open, that's why. We'll get to that later. Okay. That's the only thing I don't like about these is you have to be so careful at the top that you don't hear it. There we go. Butterflies. This paper is so beautiful. So
Yes.
I'd like to know if anybody has any idea what they're going to do with this. If they're going to give it to somebody for them to put their memories in, or about them, or if you're going to do it yourself and pass it on to somebody, or if you're going to use it for something totally different. I plan to do a little bit of both because I've made, multiple ones. So I plan to give one away so they can document. And then I plan to kind of do my own and have one here. There's lots of stuff about me in my everyday life people, don't know, or my child would not know.
Lisa, some people are having trouble getting the link to work.
The link?
Kathy said, Lisa, some folks are having trouble getting the link to work. I'm getting messages on GroupMe.
About how to get into the class, that link? Okay, I'm not sure how to fix that. Let me try from my phone.
The first link isn't working.
Okay, hold on. Well, I have lots of people in class.
Yeah, we got a lot.
Hold on, let's see.
We got 20 people in class.
Okay. Let me go to the email.
Kathy, okay, the link in the original email is working. I don't know, I'm sure one of our daughters-in-laws might get this. Go to Maymay's email and all links are there. I got them from the original email. I just made it here now.
Yeah, I just did from the original email, and I just got on too. Sorry about that. I'm not sure how to fix any of their problems. It works.
This lady asked, how many sheets of paper did you tear out?
I took out 2 of every type, and I think, let's see, how many's in here? So that would be 12, because there's 6 different patterns. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So 2 of every pattern, then I flipped it over so I could see the back. So that's 12 sheets.
We got 21 people in.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's get started. So I knew it was going to take me a while just to go through everything. And what we're going to start with is this craft paper. This one little sheet, this one little piece, don't lose it. I'm going to put it off to the side though. I'm going to be working with A, B, and C, and we're going to put our box together. So everything's already cut and scored for you. You can thank my mom for that one again. So to make this very easy, so you're going to see on A, you've got 3 sides that have a score line, and then you already have a slit cut here. On B, you see that you've got, 3 sides that's got score lines, and you've already got slits cut here. Okay. I can't see the score lines on mine. Some of them are a little difficult to see. So let's get started. We're going to do some taping. So let me show you what we're going to do. On A, very simply, the bottom of A is going to be where you have the slits. So that's how you're going to orient your paper. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to, just on those little slits, from the slit over, you're going to put tape. That's the only place you're going to put tape. That little area. So let me find mine again. Okay, just in this little square. Put tape. You can use wet glue, whatever's easier for you, but in construction, for me, it's just so much easier and so much stronger to use tape. And as soon as we finish the construction of the box, we will switch over to art glitter glue. Okay, so that's all you need to do for A. Everybody good there so far? Oh, a daughter-in-law. That might be cool, Terrence.
She's using 1/4-inch tape. Does she need to use 2?
Yes. I would just fill that square up as best as you can. Doesn't have to be exact, but just put as much as you can on there. And then I just work the score lines backwards. Just like that. So we've got that one ready to go. Everybody good? All right, Ann, she said she's just getting here a few minutes ago. We're just getting started. So on piece A, you can see the slits where it was cut for you. We just put tape on there. I'm going to move this one out of the way since I'm done with that. So now flip that over. Reinforce that score line. And let me tell you, when I was making one of these, so somebody's going to see it on one of my videos, I got a paper cut reinforcing score lines, not using my bone folder, so I'm going to grab that. It hurt. I'm like, really? That would only happen to you, Lisa. So these little tabs now are going to come inside to make up like the bottom of the box. So I'm pulling those tabs on the inside. I haven't taken the tape liner off yet. I'm just dry fitting. And the bottom's going to come up to meet it, just like that. So the sides come up, the little tabs come inside, and the bottom comes up to meet the tabs. And you're going to try, before you take the tape liner off, you're going to try to make sure this is square. Okay? If you have a little bit sticking up, that's okay. We'll trim it off. But just kind of make sure before you do it that everything is square. It's as easy as that. So grab a pokey tool. We're just going to commit now. I'm going to take the liner off of mine. Maybe. I got so much goop on it. And I tried to clean my tools too. This was a really good excuse for me to get my tools clean. I cleaned my scissors. I cleaned something else I cleaned really well. I sharpened my pencils. That's what it was. I got all my pencils sharpened. And this is the one thing, a couple things like this I did not think to do. But it does get goopy because it's always touching tape. Come on. This is not this difficult. Come off. There we go. Okay, I'm going to flip it back over. Oh, thank you for making the cuts for us, she said. So now I'm just going to go back and put those together, trying to make sure the sides of my box are square. There we go, like that. Everybody good? See anything yet? Okay, so that's one side of the box. Let me know if anyone's having any issues. Okay, I'm going to put piece A to the side for a second. I'm going to go on with piece B. And I'll show you a sample of what we're going to do there. Okay, this is what piece B, okay, Terrence, good. This is what piece B is going to look like. You have 3 sides that have score lines, and then you'll see there's a score line here in the center. If I bend that down, you'll be able to see it like that. So we're going to put tape all the way around those 3 score lines. Okay. So here is mine. Well, of all people, I don't have score lines, but at least you do. I had to make a couple of extra ones at the last minute for May, and I must have forgotten to put score lines on mine. Sorry about that. I'll do it real quick. No harm, no foul. Except I didn't do that one right. Oh, come on. Here we go. No, I had to make some extra ones. So I'm going to start at the bottom of B. So the bottom of B is going to have, oh, I need to do one more. That's what I get for saying that I'm so prepared.
It's okay.
I know. It's like, whatever.
We're doing good.
I know. Okay, right here, I think is where it goes.
Giving them time to catch up.
Yeah, for real. Okay. All right, so this will be the top. This is going to be the bottom with your 2 slits. So what we're going to do with tape is I'm going to go all the way over the bottom, and then I'll just have to cut that slit again because the tape is going to be covering it up. I'm just going to go all the way over the bottom, all the way around the edge. And if you have thinner tape, or like she was saying, the 1/4 of an inch tape, you might want to do 2 strips to go all the way to the score line. It's not necessary. In my other sample, that's what I did. I used, I actually had like a 1/4 of an inch and then 3/8 of an inch together. I'm going to burnish this real well. Down. All right. So, I know people are still working on that one. Let me clean up my little spot here. Okay. So, since I covered up the slit on the bottom, I'm just going to go and open that back up again. I'm just going to go right over the tape so that now my little slits are open again. I think that was easier than just putting one little piece of tape and another and then another. So, whichever way you want to do it. So now I have that back open. Everybody doing good? See anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Working.
Okay. So now we're going to fold toward the back again. Just going to turn it over and start folding on all the score lines. And there's lots of them, you can see. Fold all the ones on the side, ones on the back, and then the one here in the center, it's actually going to come forward because this is going to be part of, you know, how you get your goodies in and out of the box. So this is the only one that's going to come forward like that. So I just went ahead and got that one started, but then I want it to be straight so that it's easier to deal with. Good to go, he says. Okay. All right. So once you got your score lines worked, so you're going to flip this over, and we're going to do the exact same thing that we did a few minutes ago. That little tab, we're going to take all the tape off the tab, and we're going to glue that together to the box just like this. We're going to do the exact same thing and just leave the rest of this tape on for now. Let's just go ahead and put those tabs together. So if you did it like mine, you may have to take a little bit of the tape off the side like that to be able to expose that whole square. But no worries, I'm just going to lay mine back like that so I can just see that square. But I don't want to take all of it off because I don't want to stick prematurely on our project. So back over on the inside, I'm going to pull, I'm going to do the same thing we did a minute ago. I'm just putting those tabs down and trying to make sure I get a pretty good square on the other side of this box that we're making. There we go.
Show your corner.
Alright, so now this is what we have where it comes together on the sides. So I still have tape everywhere for now. Alright. So I'm going to bring back over my piece A. I'm going to put my tape liner back down for now, just so that I can dry fit this to make sure everything works. So A is the bottom of the box, B is the top. So I'm simply going to put B inside of A. And now you can see kind of how this is coming together. And then I'm going to make sure it goes all the way to the bottom and that the sides line up.
Somebody said wait.
Okay. You're still working on B? So the only thing we did to B so far is we just put those tabs together like we did with A. And we've got all this tape liner that hasn't come off yet. And so I'm just putting B inside of A. And I'm just seeing, making sure that I don't have anything that sticks up, that everything looks okay. This kind of gets you in the mindset of how this is going to look when you put it together, because I think it's easier to do this in sections without taking all the tape off. You can do it how you want to and how that you feel comfortable. But I usually take the tape liner off one section at a time. And for me, that's easier, even if I have to, get my fingers inside the box to take it, because I know some people use glue on top, to give you some wiggle room, or I don't have any of that stuff though, the glue stick there. We good to move on? Okay, so once you kind of know how it needs to look, because all this is going to be glued on the side, but this is going to be able to come down, but then these sides like this are glued together. Let's just go ahead and take the liners off. So I'm just going to scoop mine up a little bit like this. I'm not going to take it all the way out. And I'm going to take the liner off the bottom of the box. Okay.
Desiree said yes.
Good.
Ready to go on.
Just get my liner out of the way here. And then I'm just going to try and go slow, make sure I've got it lined up pretty well. And then just start using my fingers to get a good stick on the bottom. And hopefully my top is lined up, hopefully. If it doesn't, on one of these I made, it was off a sliver, and I just trimmed that sliver off, and that's what we will do. At this point, it's like you got to commit, just move on. So it is a little difficult sometimes. But the way this is, if you go back, if you decide to make another one, you'll see how the measurements are where, the inside of the box, of course, is a tiny bit smaller than the outside. So all this will fit together. And so it's the length is the same. So if it's not on there exactly right, it's going to stick out just a hair. But that's okay. Now we're just going to move on to the sides and do the same thing. I'm just going to manipulate this where I can get to the side and put my pokey tool under that tape liner and just get it off the best way I can.
Terrence said so far so good.
Good. And then easy, just make sure I kind of line it up at the top and just kind of use my fingers to start making this stick. And put my finger inside the box here, just make it stick. There was a cheer in high school. It's so funny. It always makes me laugh when I think about the sticking. Like, stick, stay, make them pay. Hey, hey. So at the top, see, I'm off barely, you might even can see it. Yeah, you can see it right there, a hair from the top. I'm just going to trim it off. And probably somebody would never even notice it, but I noticed it because it had tape on it. So I just trimmed it off to make sure this is now even. So it's not going to matter in the center. I wouldn't even worry about that piece. So I'm going to turn this over and do the other side. I don't think all my tape liner came off from the bottom. Yeah, it did. Okay, sorry I'm out of frame. Put my hand in the box. Just try and get this on as straight as possible. And if I have a tiny bit left at the top, I'm just going to trim it off. So the hardest part's done. We've got the start of a box. Now we just got to put the flap on it. Clean up over here. All right, everybody good? Let me know if you're not. I'm going to work on piece C. Okay, there's 2 score lines, so I'm going to go ahead and fold on the score line so I can see those really well. Okay, I'm finally going to remember to round the corners before I put it on here. I don't think I've remembered it all the times that I've taught this or made some samples. So I'm going to be using the 1/2 inch if you're using the We Are Memory Keepers one. I'm going to use the 1/2 inch side. And I always say it out loud because it has 2 sides. And if I say it, most times I'll remember, because when I'm doing the matting, you want to go back to the same angle. So on the 1/2 inch side, the one that's the longest piece here, this on C, let's see if I got a measurement. On the 2 inch side, that's what I'm going to round. I'm not going to round the short side because that's how we're going to put that on the box. So on the longest piece, on the 1/2 inch, I'm just going to corner around that. Okay. Then I'm going to flip it over on the back, and I'm going to put tape on this 1/2 inch portion here, and that's how we're going to put the tab on. Can't hold on to anything. I'm just going to go as close to the outside edge as possible, staying away from the score line.
Okay, is the 1/2 inch the large or the small side?
The 1/2 inch would be, yes, be the small side, and then you got 2 inches over here is your large side. And the 2 inch part is where I did the corner rounding, and the 1/2 inch, this little bitty piece here, is where I put my tape. Because this is what we're going to do. That little 1/2 inch is going to go on the back of our box, where the big part's going to come around the front of it to form the flap, like that. Okay. Da, 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 da. Okay, maybe everybody's with me now. So I'm going to show you where it's going to go, but then we might manipulate it in order to glue it on there the best way we know how. No on the corner rounder. Does that mean that's where you are?
No. Do you do the corner rounding on the small end or the large end?
Yeah, the corner rounding goes on the 2 inch side, from on this section, the 2 inch section right there, and the tape goes on the 1/2 inch. Yeah. Okay. So this is always your front with the flap. So we're going to put this this flap on the back. So I'm just going to turn my book or my box over, and this is where it's going to go. We're going to put that 1/2 inch flap. That score line where the 1/2 inch is going to be on the top of this box, if that makes sense. You're just going to take the liner off and put it right there on the top. You have something you need to tell me?
No,
okay. But it's a little easier to do from this side, but that's what we're going to do so that I don't have to like crumple my box. I'm just going to open this, and I'm going to kiss it up here that way, if that makes sense. So then once this comes down, this will come over. So on the front, I'm going to move this flap up out of the way where you don't have to see it. I'm going to take my liner off. And I'm going to pick this up. And before I stick it down, I'm going to make sure that it's even, you know, top and bottom. And I'm going to kiss it up to that first 1/2 inch score line. As easy as I can. It's much easier to do when someone's not watching you. Just like at work, I can't type when someone's standing over my shoulder. I can type pretty fast when I'm in the room by myself. Okay. Yay, isn't that cutie patootie? So you can make an album to go in here. You can make a folio to go in here. Maybe not an album per se, a folio, because it wouldn't have chipboard in it. Or you can do what we're doing. You're making 4 or 5 different elements to stick in here for people to look at, little things. So let me move through some of this stuff. So this is the second one that I made. The first one is this one. It's not very much different. I just kind of changed out which card I put on the front. So you can kind of see the difference in the looks here by using something dark that sticks out from this paper versus using something that kind of blends in. So this is kind of what we're going to be working on next. Is we're going to do our matting. We're going to do the front here. And I'll kind of show you what's on the inside. But what I always like to show, and you can tell me if you like this or not, is to show you examples if I've made it in the past of what different paper will do for a project. So take a look at this one in this Thanksgiving. Isn't this beautiful with big flowers, you know, with shiny things on it? And look what I did on the side. I took a washi tape that's very sparkly. I don't know if you can see that it sparkles. And actually put the washi tape down using score tape, because you know it won't stay on without that, because I tried it. And, you know, did it all the way around. So anyway, I always like to show if I've done something before in something different paper, how different it may look. So when you open it up, isn't this beautiful? I just love, love, love this. And I actually have a huge folio in this one. Just
Kathy loves the colors.
Thank you. I love that too. I love everything fall. All right, so we're going to start working on this now. So what you're going to do is you're going to need your paper trimmer. I'm going to put up my tape. I don't think I'm going to use that the rest of the time. I'm going to transfer to my art glitter glue. And if you're going to decorate it like mine, I'll tell you which papers I'll be using for now. I'm going to be finding the butterfly paper. Oh, we did that. I'm going to be using butterflies. And I'm going to be using one that has all those words on it. Where's that one? This one. And you got a picture of it. I keep forgetting that in your cutting guide. I have not been telling you where I am. I just been going. So if you look on page 5, there is a picture of the front of this album, so you can see which ones that I'm actually pulling and what we're going to be cutting. Alright, let's see. Anything else right now?
Mary says she's been making fabric bags for albums. This is a great alternative.
That's a great idea. I would love to see one of those. A fabric bag. And then for the back, I chose this because I don't know if these are peaches, but I'm just going to assume they are because they're that color. And we're from Peach County. Like I said, we have the Peach Water Tower. And I thought that was really perfect. So I'm going to be using that. All right. So the next step we want to do is we want to put our magnets on. And I'm so sorry if you didn't find your magnets. That makes me feel so bad. But I will definitely send some out to you if you'll send me an email. And my email is in the description of this video. Grab those magnets to see if I missed any step going on. No, okay. And I'll show you how I like to do magnets. How many pieces of paper do we need right now? Okay, so what I pulled out right now is 3 pieces. This one that has all these different words and stuff on it. The butterflies, and then this one that looks to me like it's got peaches. Oh, you have magnets. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad, and I'm sorry about that. And if you have anything like a block or, where's my distress ink? I'm going to be using this later on. My distress ink and vintage photo. I forgot to tell you about that, sorry. Vintage photo.
Rhonda said she found.
Did you find it?
She's still in the
Found
big
some?
bag.
I know it's a lot. If you have something like this, and I am going to use this later, but I'm going to use this to put inside my box as I'm working on it to give me some stability as we're putting the magnets and stuff on, if that makes sense. So if you have anything like a block or one of those distress inks, they're like the perfect size. Okay, I'm running out of room here. I always seem to do that. The walls start closing in with all my products. All right, so magnets. These are very, they're powerful, but they're fragile, if that makes sense. If you let them clamp together, they're going to break in half. Oh, she found them. I'm so glad. Yeah, I really should have packed them better, but at the last minute, I found them, and that's a whole nother story, right? Because I thought we were going to do the classes in-house, and I was going to hand them out. And right before I mailed them, I realized I hadn't put them in there because they're fragile. Anyway, sorry. I know you didn't need to say that, but that's why they're kind of just rolling in there.
They're fine.
So I'm just going to make sure they're kind of far apart from each other, because if they get close, like I say, and they bang together, they will break in half, because it has happened to me more than once. All right, so back here on the front, so of course this is what is opening to the front. We're going to put our magnets down. So you can eyeball these. And I was wrong. I do still need my tape. I forgot. This is how I like to put on magnets. I'll show you. I like to put my magnets down, just kind of eyeball, center, and then one on each side. It's not a big deal. Let me use that to hold that down. The only thing that is a big deal is making sure that we line them up correctly. And I'm going to show you how I do that. Right here. Just make sure it's kind of centered between that first score line and the top, and that your tape doesn't show all the way to the edge. Okay, here. good. Just like the Misty Magnets. You're right. I've heard that those break. And I haven't done that one so far. Those are expensive to break. $7 or $8 for one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use art glitter glue as a stamp or an ink for a stamp. I'm going to put glue on my magnet, and then I'm going to put it over here, and it's going to perform a stamping. It's going to show me exactly where I need to put my magnet in glue. So that's what I'm fixing to do. I'm going to open my art glitter glue. I get to use it for the first time today. And I'm going to place my magnet on top of the first set, just like that. Then I'm going to put glue on the magnet all the way to the edge. And then carefully, before I stamp it down, I'm going to make sure it's exactly where I want it to be. And that this is straight. And then I'm just going to use that to make a stamp, basically. So see, now you can see exactly where they need to go. So I'm going to take them up, because they're so strong, they're not going to stick. Now you can just pick them up, move them, turn them back over where it's glue on glue. And they're exactly in the spot you need them to be. Now my fingers are, are dirty. So now I'm just going to put tape on top of those. And I will take the tape off if I remember as we're matting. And it doesn't really matter if you do that or not, but I did one time, was making an album, and I forgot and left the tape liner on it. And through the years, as you open it and close it now, it crinkles. You can hear that moving in there, in the mechanism. I'm like, yep, I know exactly what that was. So I'm just burnishing it down pretty good. And now I love the sound when it clicks together. So now it's in the right spot. So I hope that helps somebody too if you always wondered how to get your magnets on. You know, exactly in the right place.
Mine keeps buffering, and I'm already behind. I may have to rewind and start over. I think I'm going to have to watch it, do it later.
I'm sorry, Cindy. Is anybody else having problems seeing me? Hopefully it's not my internet. It says I'm pretty good. It says I'm good. But yes, you have this video and you'll have the one where I'm not teaching. I'm just talking through all of it. So let's start matting. Now I'm going to put my tape up. How am I doing on time? 9:37. No, so far I'm good on stream. Thank you, Mary, for letting me know. Mine is good. Thank you, Nancy. Okay, starting with the butterflies, I'm going to cut off that branding strip that's at the top. So if I go over a 1/2 of an inch, that will cut off the branding strip, because it's kind of hard to see where it starts and stops on some of these. So this book, when we get finished with it, it's about 7 1/8, 7 1/4, in that range. So everything wide, when we're matting this part, is going to be 7. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this 7 wide. So it does have a direction, right? The butterflies are going top to bottom. So I'm going to come over to 7, my trimmer. All I see is my face right there. I don't know if you can, I don't think they can see it, but I'm coming over to 7 and cutting this 7 wide. Just cutting off this sliver here off the side. Put my scraps away. We are going to be using scraps. Okay, so for the butterflies, we're going to be cutting off 1 7/8 of an inch. And I know y'all hate 8s, and I'm so sorry, but I really am exact because I like it to look a certain way. But it's 1 less than 2 inches. So go to 2 inches and come back 1/8 of an inch. Cut that off. So now you've got 1 7/8 tall by 7 inches wide. And this one is going to go up here. And we're just going to corner around the edges before we put that on. But I'm going to keep cutting for now. So we're going to use this again. So hold on to the sheet of paper. I'm just going to put it to the side. And I'm going to go over to the next sheet, the one with all the words. And I'm going to cut off the branding strip by going up to 1/2 inch and cutting that off. And then once again, I know everything wide on this box is 7 inches. So I'm just going to go over to 7 inches and cut it off. Now, I will say this one thing, this one caveat. I'm a little weird, and some people like this and some people don't like it. If you cut off 7 inches here, you see how it's perfect on this side? Because, you know, they've made this where it perfectly stops here, it perfectly stops here. If I cut this off, I've got a perfect edge and one that's not so perfect, if that makes sense. If you look on my book, you can see that's not what this looks like because I cut some off each end. I didn't want it to look perfect here, but not there. Almost like it sticks out to me. So you may not like that. It may be wasteful to some people. That's just how I design and how I think. So I'm going to go over about 1/2 inch and cut off. So now this side, you know, is imperfect. And this side is now going to be imperfect, if that makes sense at all to anybody. So now I'm going to flip it over and cut it at 7 inches. So now both sides look that way.
Wow.
Yeah, but some people are like, what? What the? I don't know.
Butterfly paper, what is the small piece in inches?
It's 1 7/8 of an inch tall by 7 inches wide. 1 7/8, 7 inches. So all of them's going to be 7 inches wide for a little while.
Say that again, please. The butterfly paper.
The butterflies is 1 7/8 by 7. And this one, all I've done so far is cut it down to 7. I just cut some off of each end just because I wanted to look a certain way. And that's all we've done so far. So, give me 1 second. All right, so we're going to make 2 cuts on this one. I'm going to start at the bottom. Doesn't matter which way you want to start. But the bottom piece is 4 3/4. I'm out of room here. Let me make this. Maybe I don't need that. Okay. Here we go. 4 3/4. The bottom. So that's going to be my bottom piece. It's going to go like right here. And then the one on the top, and we'll keep cutting on that same paper so that it continues. And it's going to be 3 3/4. So the first one was 4 3/4. The next one is 3 3/4. And it's going to go in this section here. Here you can see. And then this one we will use probably some of those scraps later. Move this out of the way. Alright, now I'm going to grab my box. So now you can kind of see we have got the mats for the front. Just like that. Thank you, Kathy. So the butterfly one, we're going to need to go back and corner round. So 1/2 inch if you're using this one. And we're going to corner around the bottom corners because you see it's going to go on just like this. And that's the side that needs to corner round in. So make sure you're doing the bottom. Just going to go like this. And then I'm going to open this up just to take a look. So see this one? I have not corner rounded this piece, but I did in some of my other samples. And I think that I like that look. Let me see. So in my samples, this one's also corner rounded. So I think I'm going to do that. So I always forget when I'm putting it together. So on the 1/2 inch, this little piece that hangs down or that pulls down when you're taking your stuff in and out of your box, I'm just going to corner around that. So the piece that's going on it, at the top of that piece, so since it sits this way, the top of this piece needs to be corner rounded. So I'm just matching them up as I go. It's just the easiest way is to see how they land and how they fit together. Like that. And this one like this. And this one doesn't have any corner rounding. So we're good to go. So if you like to distress.
Open and show it again.
Okay. So this little piece that flaps out here, I just corner rounded it. And then the piece that's going to go over it, that was that 3 3/4. I corner out of the top of that piece so that it would match up. So if you like to distress the edges of your paper, this is the time to do that. And I'm using Distress Ink Vintage Photo in an ink blending, an ink blender from Ranger. I think this is kind of the standard, right? A lot of people use that color on this and use this ink. And if you were in my peekaboo class, which I know a few of you were, oh, not the peekaboo class, which was the other one, the photo flash box, I was talking about how I choose my ink colors. And since the base of that project, like this, it was black, I use black ink. And so since this one's the craft, I'm using, a brownish ink.
What was the second measurement on the bottom flap? Slow a little bit.
Okay, and Kathy posted them for us. This one was 1 7/8 by 7. This one was 4 3/4 by 7. This was 3 3/4 by 7. And Kathy's got them up there posted for you. Thank you, Kathy, for that. I finally got wise and center
Which one are you distressing now? Say the color again.
Oh, I am using Tim Holtz, the Distress ink, and the color from Ranger is Vintage Photo. That's what I'm using. So I think brown and the craft go well together. Alright, so got those 3 done.
Kathy posted.
Alright, so now all that's left is kind of glue these down. I'm going to take this ink pad and put it on the inside again since I'm going to be pushing on this so that it doesn't crumple my box. And I'm simply going to glue these in place. So now you can see, since we cut these this way, they're imperfect on each side, and they match up where this one stops, this one starts, since we use the same paper on this. And then to give you something different to look at, we have the butterflies at the top. So I'm going to start at the bottom. And this on the back is so pretty. We're going to use this on the inside. It's pink brick. Who would have ever thought? And pink is...
Don't forget to take off your magnet tape.
Oh, thank you. I will. I absolutely will in the next one. I will do that. Thank you. Pink has always been my favorite color. Ever since I was a little girl. My room growing up was pink. It had pink wallpaper or pink border at the top. I've always loved it. My child, when she was growing up, I have one child, girl, and when we would shop for clothes for back to school, the way she would shop literally was to go in a store, take a little look around, glance, and say, I don't want anything here, there's no pink. What? What? She drove me crazy for a few years. There was not a day that went by for probably 6 years she did not have on a pink shirt, pink socks, pink shoes, or a pink accessory of some kind. She cracked me up. Even when she stopped wearing so much pink clothes, she would wear a pink bracelet to accessorize or pink shoelaces. It was so funny. She finally has grown out of that. But she's 22 now. I cannot believe that. I'm too young, right? I'm too young to have a 22-year-old and a grandbaby. I have a 6-month-old grandbaby. All right, so I'm taking off the tape liners because I will forget. Oh, except that I'm working on the wrong side. See, I shouldn't be talking. No. That would be just like something I would do is close that down and couldn't get it back open.
Kathy says she has a 45, soon to be 46-year-old.
Oh my gosh, where does the time go? Oh my goodness. And Kathy, when did they start thinking that we know what we're doing? That we're not quite so dumb as they thought? I don't think mine's gotten to that point quite yet. Maybe she's got a couple more years. Okay, so here's the front so far. And yes, there's going to be a pretty big gap right here because of that score line. But we're going to put some elements on the front of that. So, there's my pen.
He said never.
Thanks for giving me some hope. All right, so let's keep cutting. No hope, huh? I'm going to cut now. I'm just going to go ahead and do the back since it's just one piece of this paper that's got this peach looking stuff on it. And so we know again it's going to be 7 inches wide. And I'm going to cut it at 8 3/4 tall.
Rhonda said, can you hold up for just a second? Would you like to give away a gift?
Oh, yes, that's a good idea. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and give away a prize. It's almost time anyway, and let y'all catch up a little bit. So, let me kind of move this out of the way. What we're going to be giving away in this class.
Several are saying wait.
Okay. If anybody recognizes these, this is what May has on her desk that she calls Brian O'Shaughnessy. And I cleaned out, I told you I tried to clean to get ready for this. I cleaned out all of my We Are Memory Keepers corner punches, all the different ones, and kept it because, you know, I'm a weirdo. But so that you can see how this works. And it will be a little bit loud if you've got headphones in, so just be careful. And then like if you have, I don't know if you can see that, pencil erasers. They're so cute to have on your desk. I've got 3 different types. I'm going to have some mushrooms and ladybugs, and I have like a little mouse. I haven't shown the mouse here. So it's just going to be a surprise which one ever gets into your box. So we're going to give one of these away. And while you're catching up, I might tell you a little bit about that story. I don't think it's such a great story. Everybody does on the cruise. Okay, so the way we're going to give things away is May gave us a list of everybody who took the class in order of, you know, how they bought it. And so your name is 1 through 31 by your tickets. So I'm going to use the randomizer app to give me a number 1 through 31, and that person is going to be the one who wins. 31's correct, right? There's 31 people.
31.
Okay.
Karen thinks she did hers wrong.
Oh, honey, if it's just the paper in which one you chose, it's fine. It's all art. You do not have to do it exactly the way I do it. As long as you got your box done correctly and it functions, you're good. Because you can choose any paper you want. A lot of people do that anyway. Let's see. So number 19 is Deidre Esperanza, I think. Deirdre, I think. If you're in class, and I think I saw you at the beginning of this, you'll need to send an email to me, as long as you don't mind me having your mailing address, because everything, like I say, comes through May. I don't have any of your personal information. And my email is lisawisedesigns@gmail.com, but it's in the description of this video, so you don't have to try to remember that. Just send me an email, and I've got you marked down so I'll know. Okay, so all I've done so far on this piece of paper is cut it 7 inches wide. Congratulations, yes. And I'm going to cut it down to 8 3/4 tall. So 8 3/4. Oh, good. She's here. I thought I saw you. Did you mark her that she was here?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Wonderful. Okay. So send me an email sometime the next day or so, and I'll get that out to you. All right. So this is going to go on the back. I'm just going to kind of leave this here. I'm going to do a little more cutting.
Talk again just a little bit about the flap at the top of the box. Somebody's confused about where the paper goes. It goes on the top and not underneath.
Yeah, I'm going to, we are going to mat this right now is what I'm fixing to start on. But for now, this is what I have done is all the front. Yeah, the outside. I did those 3 pieces here with the butterfly and that with all the words on it. It's on the outside. And now on the inside, I'm going to use the same paper all the way through. You don't have to do that, but I like the looks of it. I'll show you in my sample. Let's keep my sample over here anyway.
Kathy answered it.
Okay. Let me move other stuff out of the way. So this is what we're going to do now. Here's all the stuff we're going to make. Yay! So this is what we're going to do with this pink brick. If you like this look, I'm just going to do it all the way down on the inside. And then right here too, I'm going to use the same piece of paper, and then we're going to put one of those 4x6 cards here. So that's our next step. All right, where's the one? All right, sorry, get back to what I was doing. So this is the back. Move this over. I'm going to find that piece of paper that we had pulled earlier. Oh, we hadn't pulled that one out. The one with the pink brick. Is that it? Let's see. Here we go. All right, so the one that has the same piece of paper we use with all these words, on the back of that is pink brick. And that's what I'm going to be using. And I'm just going to be taking that top branding strip off first of all. And then I'm just going to cut it down to 7 inches again, wide. And take that strip off the side. And then now I'm going to start making a series of cuts just in a row that's going to go on the inside of this box. So I'll show you what we're going to do, and then I'll do that. We're going to start with what size for rose paper? Is it this paper here you're asking about? So it's 7 inches wide by 8 3/4 was that paper. And so this one, all I've done to the brick so far is 7 inches wide. So I'm just going to show you what we're going to cut, and then I'm going to cut it with you. We're going to cut 1 7/8. We're going to cut 5/8, which is a little over 1/2 inch. It's right between 1/2 inch and 3/4. So 1 7/8, 5/8, 4 1/2, and 3 3/4. And I'm going to do it with you, but we're just going to keep cutting on that same sheet of paper. Okay. So all I'm cutting out right now is 7 inches. So I'm going to turn it around. Now I'm going to start a series of cuts. The first one is 1 7/8. I'm going to turn my paper this way, just because I like that one. So I'm going to go up to 2 inches and come back 1/8 inch. That's 1 7/8. So it's just a little bit shy, 2 inches. So 1 7/8 is the first cut. I'll wait and see if she calms down. She loves, if anybody goes out in the yard, she thinks she's going to do something to them. But if she doesn't, we'll put her in her room. 1 7/8. Okay. The next one's going to be 5/8. So I like to cut it on this side. It's a little easier for me. So you're going to go up to 1/2 inch and go over another 1/8 inch. So 5/8 is right between 1/2 and 3/4. So I went up to 1/2 inch and then went over and kept going another 1/8 to make this little strip. All right. So far I've got 1 7/8 and then 5/8. The next one is 4 1/2. I keep flipping my paper because I like all of it to kind of flow together. But that's not necessary. I'm just an accountant, and so I'm just a little cuckoo about things being exactly the way I want it to be, whether it's right or not. So that one was 4 1/2. Okay. So 1 7/8, 5/8, 4 1/2.
Pull it down a little bit. It's in your picture.
This one.
That's better.
Okay. 1 7/8, 5/8, 4 1/2. And then the last one is going to be 3 3/4. So 3 3/4. So all that we have left out of this sheet of paper is this little bitty strip right here. That's all you've got left.
Kathy's posting the sizes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Kathy. That's so helpful. Once you have that done, we're just going to, I'm going to give you a minute to catch up, and I'm just going to start inking. I keep moving this out of the way because I'm putting it inside. Just using that vintage photo because I can't stand it. So I do, a lot of people ask me, how I get everything done, or how do I keep, working when I have so much going on. Okay, so if you don't have the 3 3/4, you have plenty of paper. Just grab another sheet. You're not going to use all the paper in this kit for this project, so no worries. Just grab another sheet of the same type and just cut you another one. But just make sure everything is 7 inches wide, and then you should be good. And what she might have done is flipped over the other piece we were working on earlier and used it, which is probably what's happened.
But that's okay. She's got another.
Yeah, because that's what I did. I've got the first piece left over. Anyway, so I really, as an accountant, they always say one side of your brain, and I can't remember if it's the left or the right side, but they always say that analytical part is one side, and then this artistic and crafting, things like this is the other side. So I do find it, even though I might go from one desk at work to a desk at home, I do find it very different and very relaxing, and my brain does not hurt like it does from sitting at a computer doing journal entries and stuff all day. It's just a labor of love. I just love to do it. So we're going to have to corner around some of these again, but we'll do that together so that we don't get off on which one, needs it or doesn't need it. So I took my box and flipped it over, and I'm just going to put this beautiful piece of paper on here with my peaches on there. Somebody's probably going to tell me it's a nectarine. So I think it'll be pretty, but I haven't done this on any of them because I knew we wouldn't have time. But you have so much paper left. I'd love to see it, if somebody does like the 3/8 of an inch or so strips all the way around like I did on one of my other projects. That would be really pretty. This is really pretty paper. Prima makes some of the most beautiful paper. The only gripe I have with Prima is I don't think they give me enough patterns. If I'm making a big project, I struggle with using the same pieces over and over. For this, it's perfect. But if I'm making some kind of big scrapbook, and I've done a few, it's a little difficult.
Here it says he plans on doing that, matting.
Good. Sides. I'd love to see that. So I like the looks of that on my other one that I did. Okay, put my glue up, put my pen in it so I can kind of see what I need to corner around next. I'm just going to open this up. I'm going to use my blocks to help me hold this down so you can kind of see. Because this 4 3/4 piece, the one we cut at the bottom, is the one that's going to go here. So you'll see that we're going to need to corner around it. This is the one that's, if this was my stack here where I started, this was the one at the bottom, 4 3/4. No, 3 3/4. I'm sorry. This was 4 1/2. This was 3 3/4. I knew that didn't look right. Yeah. So
say the sizes again.
Oh, okay. This is the one at the bottom that we did the 3 3/4. And this one's 4 1/2. So this one's going to go here. The 4 1/2 one's going to go on the inside. Then that 5/8, of course, is going to go right there in the bend.
What size was the piece you put on the back?
The piece on the back was 7 inches wide by 8 3/4 tall. Okay. So now we can kind of, since we got it laid out, we can kind of see which one needs corner rounding. So this one at the top, of course, needs corner rounding up there. Grab this again. Corner around the top. I did the sides on the album from the other day. Oh, good. I'll have to go back and look. I know you posted some pictures. I'll have to go back and look and see how that looks. I bet it looks really good. I've made the photo flash box quite a few times for presents, and my favorite one I kept no pictures of, and I'm so sick about it. I gave it to one of my girlfriends that I vacation with once a year. We've done it for 3 years in a row, the same week. We've gone, let me take my liners off. We've gone to Disney, or we've just done something frivolous like that together. We went to SeaWorld. We're both accountants. We used to work together, and we got through budget season and end of the year, and so we just go and celebrate and spend a weekend together. And so I made her one of those photo flash boxes with Disney paper, and it is so cute and has all the elements and stuff in it. And she's not a crafter. She probably was like, oh, okay. And put it on a bookshelf, but it was adorable. And I wish I'd have kept pictures of it. It was so cute. Now, she probably appreciated it. She's so sweet.
Talk them through what you're doing.
Okay, so the one
behind.
All right, so the one at the top here. Sorry to get my liners out of the way. This was the 1 7/8, and so I just corner around at the top so it would match up with the top of the box. And then here's my 5/8 of an inch is going on next between those two score lines. That's a pretty big break not to have any paper, so I'm going to put something there. And then the next one was the third sheet that we cut. It was 4.5 inches. So I'm just going to line it up where it's about 1/8 of an inch away from that top score line. And the rest of it's going to kind of go down in your box. You're not really going to see much of it. And then I'm going to glue that one in. Right. There we go. So I also did not mat the sides, these little slivers here on the side, and I did on my other album I was showing you that was fall, and I think that would be pretty too. And you're going to have plenty of paper to do that. It's just going to be taking the time. Where's my one folder? Okay. I don't know. I do that all the time. I start losing my tools as we go. So the next one is going to be the 3 3/4 one. And so you can see at the bottom of this one, we're going to need to corner around it. So back on my 1/2 inch on the bottom. I'm going to hit it with ink once again and glue that one on there.
Can you repeat the inside cuts one more time in order from top to bottom? I did something wrong.
Absolutely.
That was Deanne.
Absolutely. So they're all 7 inches wide, and then I'll go through the cuts with you. Okay, because I have them written on my sample. This one up here is 1 7/8. The next small one is 5/8. 4 1/2. And then this flap is 3 3/4. Okay. All right. I think I'm done with that one. Found it. Oh, I found it.
Kathy's posting.
Okay. So, awesome. Let's say we're just an hour in. We're doing a really good job. We're going to do some more decorating on this one. Let me put my pen in. This is the thing that's going to take the longest, of course, is getting that box ready. That's what the usual, right? Okay, let's see. What's next? Let's do some decorating on the front. As you can see, I got a couple different examples here. This one and this one. So we're going to make a tag. So you're going to need to look through your 4x6 cards and pick out what you want to be on the front of this album. So let's start going through our cards. You need to find a vertical orientation one. So you can see these two different ones here. I use this later on and cut it, so I'm not going to use that one for sure. So here's this one. Do what makes your soul shine. Do you. That's another good one. I think I use this on my on my shaker. But like you can really customize this.
Measurements is on the cutting guide, right?
Not for matting.
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't do the matting ones. I'll try to remember to do that last time. I guess I got lazy. Be yourself today. This one, success is a series of small wins. That's pretty. And then the rest of them, the rest of them looks like they're in the other orientation. I'm going to go with this one because I like how it pops out because it's darker on this light. Or you can do this one or just pick one that you love. Now, what we're going to need to do, Too much stuff. Get rid of that one. I'm going to go back to that butterfly paper that I had already cut off of. So I had this piece in my scraps. If you don't, that's fine. Just get another piece of butterfly paper. You have plenty to do this project and have extras left over. But I always like to look at my scraps first. So we're going to cut a sheet that is 4 1/4 wide by 6 1/4 tall. So I'm going to put these butterflies going in this direction over 4 1/4 and then tall 6 1/4. So 1/4 of an inch bigger than a photo, right? Because it's a 4 by 6 card. So 4 1/4, 6 1/4 is what I've done with this butterfly paper. I'm going to move my scraps somewhere here. Right. Since this card is already comes corner rounded, you can kind of look at yours and see that. I'm going to corner round this, and it's not exactly going to match up because, of course, their machinery is different than mine, but I think it's still okay. Or you could corner round it again with your own. Excuse me. This time I'm going to go over to the 1/4 of an inch side, and I'm going to corner round all 4 corners because I just want mine to kind of match up. I tickle my throat. So let's see what that's going to look like. That's going to look something like this. And you might want it to go on that green side and have the butterflies on the back, which I think is what I did on this one, so that you can kind of see. You can put a photo here now. Or you can do it this way and have the butterflies peeking out and have the green on the back, whichever one you choose. I'm going to do the green on the back of this. And I'm going to get my distress ink. Ugh. Since this is a pull-out and you're going to see both sides, I'm going to ink both sides. And you'll notice if I only ink, one side of it, it's because I'm going to glue something down. So since you're going to see both sides, I'm inking both sides. But this is going to be glued down, so I'm only going to ink this one side. And let me tell you, there's some really pretty patterns on the back of this 4 by 6. So when I said that a few minutes ago about them not giving us enough patterns sometimes, if you'll pick up the 4 by 6 papers or even the 6 by 6, usually there's more patterns in there that you don't get in the other papers. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll start doing that from now on. I did not know that until we started ordering these for this class. So we're just going to glue this right in the center. I'm going to put mine on the green side. And I'm going to glue it down just like that. And then we're going to make a tag out of it. I must not have ate enough this morning. I hope y'all can't hear my stomach growling. I mean, it is loud. It's as loud as those birds right outside. I have a security system that we put in that I went back and put solar panels with it because it was such a pain to put batteries in. And they have decided that little solar panel behind it's the perfect place for nest.
Ivy says slow down, repeat measurements several times.
Okay, on this one, all I did was cut 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And I'm sorry if I'm going a little too fast. Next time, if I'm going to do this big of a class, I'll try and put the measurements in writing to kind of help you out. But I'm afraid if I go too slow, we're not going to get as much done. But in actuality, it will be okay because there's another set of videos for you that's got it from front to back. So I just won't worry. We'll just kind of keep going.
Kathy is posting the
Thank you, Kathy.
sides.
So 4 1/4, 6 1/4. All I did was glue that down. So now I'm going to go grab my hole punch. And this, like I say, I call it a regulation size. This is the kind you get at an office supply store because it makes a pretty big hole. It's a 1 1/4. Yeah, 1/4, not 1 1/4. 1/4 size.
Karen said, "Can you hold up for a second? I had to recut my paper."
Okay, sure. And I'll just grab the rest of my supplies I'm going to need while you're recutting. So I'm going to grab the hole punch, and then the reason I'm using that size of a hole punch is because we're using these hole reinforcers, and they exactly match. So we already colored them for you in Vintage Photo Distress ink. in case you didn't want to do that for yourself. So you're going to grab those. You're also going to get your green seam binding or ribbon. So I'm going to get that. I hope that's just for one. I think I only used green one time. I think. Yeah, so you have plenty of that here. Okay, and then you're going to grab your big monster tag that you have in your kit. And the only reason you're going to grab this is to help you with spacing. So if you don't want to get this one, you don't have to. But this, since this is already in your kit, it'd be really, and everybody has a kit, it will be really helpful in centering this up. Okay, so I'm going to grab a pencil. And I'm just going to put, I'm going to work on the back. It's a little easier to see. So I'm just going to put this big tag on top of what we just cut down. And I'm just butting it up to the top. And I have about, an 1/8 of an inch showing on each side. All I'm trying to do is estimate where I'm going to punch a hole. That's all I'm doing. I just thought this would be an easy way to do that. And I'm just going to draw a circle right where that hole is. And put that back out of my way. Pretty good? Okay. And of course, you can always eyeball this. So right where I drew that hole, I'm just going to punch a hole. Easy peasy. Now I'm going to take these really cool hole reinforcers and just put it right over it. It's so funny, it punched it right in the center of that rose. And I'm going to do it on both sides. I love using these. If you ever, she did carry them, she probably still does. They are perfect. They come in a pack of about 10 or 15 sheets. This is, I think, a half of a sheet. And you can take any distress ink that you want. And since they're not plastic, they're more paper, it absorbs that ink really well. And once it dries in a few minutes, you can make them any color. I love that. Love that idea. And so I use this in a lot of my albums recently. Oh, I'm sorry, Eva. I hope that you're going to enjoy crafting. So, we'll use the green. What we're going to do is we're going to fold it in half. We're going to take this loop coming from the front and we're going to push that through. Now you're going to take those two ends and you're going to pull it through the loop. All right, just like that. And then I'm going to trim mine up. So I'm going to kind of leave them a little long, but not quite this long. And what I like to do is I like to fold mine in half, and I take my scissors, if I can find them, and starting at the bottom on the outside, I take my scissor here, if you can see, and then go pointed toward my fingers without cutting my fingers, of course, and trim. And then just kind of distress it a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of fold it in half, trim it, and kind of make a little ribbon tail. Oops, I don't want to do that one good at all. There we go. All right, so now we've got that piece done. So I'm going to put this one to the side that I made earlier. So this is the box we're working on. So what we're going to do now, everybody doing okay? I'm sorry, Mary. I know, sometimes that's how it goes. But you're going to have plenty of leftover cards too, probably 2 or 3 at this, and you can go back and redo it. It's fine. Okay, so 2 inches from the bottom, we're going to put that last strip I was saying earlier for us not to lose. So this last strip that's made out of craft, about 2 inches from the bottom if you want to measure. Of course, you can eyeball this. I'm just going to kind of make a mark where my 2 inches is. And I'm going to glue this down only on the very edges in just a second. We're going to do a couple other things too. But that's where that is going to go.
Wait a minute.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't want to go too fast. I'll hold up for just a minute. I'll kind of explain to you what we're going to do. So this is going to be where your tag is going to come in and out of. So it's going to be a belly band. So you want to make sure it's not a pocket. So we want to make sure we're not going to put glue on the bottom when we get to that point. Because what's going to happen is this is going to be able to slip through there. And it's also going to help hold this top on, which you really don't need. You've got magnets, but it kind of gives you that illusion of that. So it's going to kind of go this way. And then we're going to do some decorating on the belly band. All right, so this is the little, it may have D on yours. Mine doesn't have a number on it. I can't remember if this one had a D written on it. But there's another little extra piece that was in your kit. We used some of the leftovers to do this with. So it is, just in case, it is 1 1/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, so we're going to dig through our goodies and we're going to pull out a few things to decorate with. So you can see in the photos exactly what I'm going to use right here, in your photos here, sorry. And I'll pull this over here, maybe. That might be a little helpful. But I'm going to look for this piece here. I'm going to look for this.
I couldn't find that straight piece.
The strip.
The strip.
There's so much in this kit. It might be difficult to find. You might have to flip through things. If it absolutely is not in there, like I say, it's 1 1/4 by 4 3/4, and you could use any pattern paper that's in your kit to cut that.
It doesn't have a number or a letter. Right?
Okay, it probably does not. Like I said, I think this was leftovers, and then we decided when I was designing it, this would be cool to use those leftovers like this and what we cut. So somebody says got it. Okay, found it. Good. Yeah, there was so much stuff in this kit. That was the one bad thing, is trying to find it. We might should have put everything in little bags that we needed for every little thing here. So, okay. So let's go here. All right, I don't know what this is called. This little floral of flourish piece. I'm going to use that one. Okay, and then okay, there's this piece here that's folded in half. Well, I cannot get that to stay. So all you're going to do is you're actually going to cut on that fold. You just cut on the fold and get that half a piece. Hold it up. Okay. Okay, these are your pieces you're working with that you're trying to find. And like I say, there's a picture over the front of the book where you'll see these pieces that also might help if you're having a hard time seeing. Right here, because this is what I'm trying to find, is these pieces here. This right here. So it's this and this. And I think it's in this one. It's this Dream Big piece right here, this little strip. I think it's part of these. There it is. So it is part of like your ephemera pieces. It says Dream Big here, this little strip. Do that one. And then you're going to need your flowers. And I think that's it on this one. This to the side. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this strip piece, and you can see it's almost the right size when we cut it in half. You're going to have a little bit left over. So I'm just going to go ahead and ink it, glue it down on there, and then I'll just trim off the excess. Did you need something?
No.
Okay.
Does all of these come from the ephemera pack?
Yes, they sure did. All three of these pieces came from the ephemera pack. Sometimes I had to try to remember. I couldn't remember if some of it might have been stickers, but they all three were ephemera pieces.
Do we glue the small pieces down now or decorate first?
What I'm doing now is hitting the edges with the ink, and then I'm going to decorate the whole front piece except for the flowers, and then we're going to glue that. We're going to glue this down, and you're going to need a little bit of special instructions, so don't get too far ahead of me. because you want to make sure that you don't close up where that tag goes. So I'm just going to glue down this strip that kind of looks like a fence onto my craft piece. I'm just going to center it, top to bottom centering, and going all the way over to the edge on the right. And then I've got a little bit piece left over on the left where I had cut it in half, and then I'm just going to turn it over and trim that up. I think that's kind of crazy that they, 2 or 3 of those ephemera pieces, they folded to make it fit in the package. Well, I guess you could unfold it, but it's, it's pretty apparent that it's folded. It's got a big score line in it. So I just found a way to use it the way I wanted to use it. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the Dream Big on here, more over to the right, but not all the way to the right, because I'm going to put flowers there. So about 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch away from the right-hand side, I'm going to put the Dream Big. Okay. Now's the time we're going to glue this on the front of the box. So we made a line that was 2 inches. Or was that a little more? No, it was 2 inches from the bottom. That's where I'm going to kind of line this up. But then I'm going to kind of eyeball center. And I'm going to glue this down, but I'm only going to put a little bit of glue on the edge, on the 2 sides, just 1 bead on the very, very edge on the sides. Enough to hold it, but that's all, because we're going to use this, like I said, as a belly band. We want this to be open so we can slide things in and out. And mine may not be dead center, but that's okay. And it's going to take a few seconds for this to dry. Alright, so I'm going to sit this on here and let it dry in place. So this little flourish thing, what we're going to do is, I liked this over here kind of taking up some of this room on the left, and I didn't use it on the inside, so I really wanted to use almost every piece of ephemera before we got done. And what you want to do is, you're just going to put glue all the way around the left-hand side. So on this, on the back of it though, on the left-hand side, I'm going to put glue and leave this right open, because I want my tag to be able to fit in there. So the tag is actually going to go behind this piece, if you see what I'm doing here. See how the tag has got to get behind there in that element? So you might want to put your tag in there just so that you can kind of see. And then I'm just going to put glue around the left-hand side, stopping at the top and stopping at this little point here, or well, a little bit before that. So let's see. As I flip this over, I'm going to start gluing here, and I'm going to stop here. And you can always add more glue. You just want to make sure you don't put glue on this tag that's coming in and out. Just like that. So once this is glued in place, this will now come in and out. See how that just really pops off the front of there now? The other one I had is pretty, but it was so light. Like this one, which is still a pretty look, but this got a really pop to it. Everybody doing okay? Alright, so to finish this up, let me show my original one. Since I don't have flowers in my kit, what I did is I took 3 flowers and put it there. Now you're all going to have different ones. Hopefully you've got some of every color, but you may not. But we just try to do the best we can to get everybody some flowers. So I just stacked 3 flowers on top of each other, right to the left where it says Dream Big. And that's how I finished that up. Okay, good, Mary. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that you're aggravated, sweetheart. I'm really trying to kind of balance out, getting everybody up to where I am and trying to get you through the project. So that's all I know to say is I'm sorry. I'll just try to do the best I can to get everybody up to speed. let me see, while you're finishing up your flowers, let me see where the next step needs to be. What time is it? 10:29. All right, we've got about 15 or 20 minutes before we stop this video and go to the second one. So I'm going to see if there's one that we can kind of finish before that. This one's going to take a little while. We'll do this. All right, just letting you catch up, and I'm just getting my thoughts together on which one to do next. So you just do you. And here we go.
You're doing great, Lisa. Some of us are slower than others.
Thank you. Alright, so now I'm going to kind of put my book to the side once you're done with that, and we're going to start working on the inserts. So you can just totally take this off of your desk, and we will start working on inserts. So before we take our break, we're going to at least do the front of our glassine bag. Okay, I'm going to give you just a few minutes. I know that you're trying to kind of catch up to where I am.
Look at this.
Okay, so we're going to start on the glassine bag. So I'm going to grab my glassine bag, and the first step I'm going to do is I like to see mine distressed on the edges. You can keep it white all the way around, but I want to distress mine. So I'm just going to go all the way around the edges with the brown.
How many flowers do you recommend putting on the band?
I put 3, and I'll show you that sample one more time. This is the one that I did earlier. I just kind of layered them on top of each other. A peach, a green, and one that was off-white. But like I say, you might not have all 3 colors. We tried to give everybody 3 if we could, but I put 3 on mine. Do I need to do something different?
Just some of them are behind. Some of them's frustrated.
Okay, and try not to get too frustrated. I know you want to do it live with me, but I know when I follow an instructor too, since I have no idea what the next step and stuff is, it is difficult to keep up. And that's one of the reasons that I spent a whole weekend, putting together a very comprehensive, another set of videos. And you might not want to watch them, but they're very comprehensive, step by step, all through this. And you can pause and catch up and do whatever you need to do on that. And that's really how I usually learn from other teachers too, because I have to pause it to move on. It is a little more difficult in a live setting. And in the classroom setting, I think it's even more difficult than that, because you have people talking to each other a lot, so it's kind of hard to get going. All right. Hope everybody's good now. So I just inked the edges of my glassine bags, and that's totally optional if you want to do that or not. I just kind of like that look. And now we're going to cut down a piece of paper, and let me do my measurement here. This is a 2 1/4 by 6. So let me see if I have anything in my scraps I want to use.
Oh, Donna's a pink girl, so she's using pink ink to distress.
Oh, I've never.
Love this class.
Thank you. I've never thought about using a pinky. That would be pretty, I bet. And how would I have not thought of that? So I happen to have this little strip left. So of course you can choose whichever one you want to. But I have this already left where we did, the back of the book or the back of the box is where that came from. So that's what I'm going to use. And it was at 7 inches wide because that's how we were cutting everything. So now it needs to be at 6 inches. So now I'm going to cut this down to 6 inches. I think it was 2 1/4. So 6 inches by 2 1/4. 6 inches by 2 1/4, and this was that flower paper that I said had peaches on it. I think that was on the back of our book. Yeah, okay, it was the leftovers from the back of this. Okay. Yep, no biggie if you get behind. It is fine. All right.
She's behind on 4 glasses because it didn't strain.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I know a lot of this did not turn out as planned, and everyone's really just trying to do the best that they can to give y'all your money's worth. We really, May and her team and all of us have tried so hard. We've gone the extra mile. Like I said, we've done the classes twice now. We've taped them for you, and we're doing them live to try to get you so that you feel like you've got your money's worth and you've got enough instruction. So I hope that really has helped you. So all I did was cut this 6 by 2 1/4. And in a second, I'm going to glue it down. And then I'm just going to do some decorating with it. So, everybody good? Okay, good. Thank you, Sue. All right, so if you want a measurement, from the very top of the glassine bag, I came down 1.5 inches. What would be putting it on the side? What would be putting it on the side? Maybe she means like this, like putting it here in a different way, a different format, which you could absolutely do. All you're going to do is we're just trying to decorate the front so that we can put some elements on the inside. And I just wanted to make it pretty for the front. So yes, if you want to do it in a different orientation, absolutely do that. Now, the one thing you want to not do is you don't want to do in the orientation this way, the string that we're going to do. So, well, I just got glue all over my desk. So I came down about this one I didn't come down quite as much, but that's okay. You can see this one's a little taller. Let me clean up my mess. Sorry. And that's all I've done is kind of glue this band down here. And now we're going to take some string. You have lots of string, a whole big band or long lengths of string that was in your kit here.
She said, sorry, what side of the bag are you putting that on? Which side? Show her the opening.
Oh, yeah, this right here. You can see this is the front of the bag. Here's the opening. Just like that. Yeah, so this will be the back of it. And this is the front. So I'm doing the front with the opening. Sorry, I just didn't understand your question. So you have lots and lots of string. And this is really the only place, if memory serves me correctly, that we're using it. So you have lots to work with. So what I like to do on this one, you can see where it comes around. I did it around 3 times and just had enough to tie a bow. And I kind of glued that bow into place. Let me make it a little bit higher where you can see. So that's what we're going to do next. All right, I'm just going to leave enough on the front to make sure I can tie a bow. And I'm just going to wrap it around where I've got 3. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm bringing it back around. So I'm going to trim my excess off. Put that back away. So all I did was wrap 3 times around the string across the paper that we did. So that paper kind of helps, keep it from crumpling up your glassine bag. And you're just simply going to tie a bow. You can put it in the center or the side, but I'll show you my example here again. I did mine on the side because I'm going to come over here and do this little piece for you or with you. Okay. Let me see if I can actually make a bow with people looking at me.
5 minutes.
Okay. That'll be perfect. We will finish up the front of this and then we're going to take a break. So what we're going to do is we're going to take about a 15-minute break from class and we'll come back right at 11 Eastern and start again on that second video. So there'll be another link that was on your email that said, part 2 of Prompted Memories. And so that's where I'll be. I'll be in that second one. And grab a sandwich, go to the bathroom, and of course, go get you some water if you want to. And the first 5 minutes or so, I'll just chit-chat. I'll wait for you to come back in, and we'll get started and give you a chance. I know this is a long class for you to not have any type of break. So you're going to look for this tag. It's kind of like a jewelry tag, but larger. So it's going to kind of go right here. You're going to find that one. You're going to find this die cut, or this ephemera piece that says broken crayon, still color. I think that is the most beautiful saying. I've never heard that. I'm going to be using that. I'm going to get out my washi tape here. And then I'm also going to get that black piece of ribbon, or that seam binding here. So got this, and these 2 pieces here. And then I'm going to go back and see if I can keep misplacing, even though I'm trying to be so particular, trying to find my hole reinforcements. What did I do with them? Yeah, they are. I put them with my ephemera. Okay, so here's the pieces that I have pulled. The word I'm going to use. Okay, I'm going to get my distress ink and I'm going to distress my tag and my ephemera piece. This is so pretty. I love these colors.
Did you glue the bow to the paper or to the string?
I have not, but I will. I think it probably does need it. So I would just place it where you would like to and just put some art glitter glue behind it and glue it in place more toward the left-hand side. And let's just go ahead and do that together.
To the paper or the string?
I'm going to glue the middle of the bow to the paper. So I put a dot of glue right underneath that middle of the bow where you tie it, and I'm going to glue it to the paper. Although my bow is not very pretty. But I'm not going to fuss with it right now.
They distressed her string. I bet that's pretty.
Oh, I bet it is. What a great idea. And I bet it pops really well on there. Good idea. So I'm going to grab that same large, regulation size hole punch, and I'm just going to make this hole bigger. I'm just going to punch right over the hole that was already there in that tag because I'm going to put a hole reinforcement over it just to add something else to it. So I just made the hole larger. And I'm going to use another one of these hole reinforcers and put over that. Alright, I'm going to finish up my tag by doing the same technique with folding the ribbon in half and sticking that into the center and then taking those tails and pulling them through the loop. Just like that. And so you have lots left over. So you might want to look of where you're going to, my watch is going crazy again. So you might want to see where this is going to land on your paper and how long you want your tails to be. right, and again, the way I like to do it is to fold it in half, take my scissors out, coming up from the right-hand side on the outside, and then up toward my fingers at an angle, and then I like to just kind of distress it a little bit. And so, who would have thought to use an upside down tag? I just thought that really works right there. It'll add something. So this will go here. I'm not gluing anything yet. And then this is going to go here. And to even add more, you see in this example, I used a strip of that black and white washi tape here, and it's coming up on mine, and right there, like the washi tape's holding it down, which we all know that's a farce, right? Washi's not going to hold hardly anything, so I will put some glue behind it. So now I'm just going to kind of glue this into place, and this will be the last step that we'll do, and we will take a break. Right here. Are we doing good?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Gonna glue this with a little bit of tags poking out. All right, and then just to add a little something something, I like to use this black and white one. Just take a little bit off, and I'm just going to tear it off. And then I'm just going to kind of see how big a piece I want to make it look like I'm holding this tag down. And this other piece I'm going to use, I'm just going to put it out of the way for now. So I want mine to land right here. So I'm just going to put a strip of glue right where I want it to land. I know that's a little hard to see on camera here, but I just put a strip of glue right where I wanted this to be. And then I'm going to lay this over it really easy here. And then if I want to do some more on the ends, I will. And that will really help this stay in place. But it'll kind of look like that's what's holding it down. And then whatever piece you had left, whether it be big or small, I'm just going to put some glue on it and put it at the top of this piece here like it's holding it down. And that kind of helps balance this out, this side to this side here. So when we come back, we're going to put some tags and things in here, and we're going to do some stamping, and we're going to kind of get to the prompted memories part of this. I know you're probably wondering where that's coming in at this, but the first part of this is always trying to get the construction done and get the box done, and then we're going to do a lot more decorating and get some more of these put in, and then we're going to do a shaker, and that shaker is so cute. So we're doing really good on time. Is there anything we need to say before we go?
No.
Okay, so I'll be back on that second link, the part 2, right at 11 o'clock, okay? Thank you guys for being here. I really hope you're enjoying this class. I love this paper, and it's going to be a beautiful project when we're done. So I will see you back here in a few minutes. Let's see if I can grab my mouse here.